The Honda Rebel 250, or the CMX 250 to be exact. This is a humble cruiser that was offered by Honda for over 30 years off and on. It is the top turd. This thing is the king of nowhere. But with it being made for over 30 years virtually unchanged, I think it's worth a closer look. So today that's exactly what we're doing. I swooped up this Rebel. This is a 2005, so we are going to go over the features and specs of this motorcycle. Of course, we're going to take it out. We're going to find out what the top speed is, how fast it runs to 60, what it feels like riding it, how comfortable is it. Today is going to be super fun, so I can't wait to rip into it. So without further ado, let's begin. So first off, let's just take in the sheer beauty of what the Rebel 250 has to offer. Oh, baby. There she is. The Honda Rebel 250. You know, from this angle, it probably looks like a regular sized motorcycle, but I will sit on this for you guys in a bit and you will see this thing is tiny. Just a classic single 6.5-inch headlight, single disc for the brakes up front, and of course we get a classic chain and sprockets with the drum brake on the rear. Now this Rebel, they call it a 250, but it's powered by a 234cc parallel twin. This baby uses one carburetor that powers both cylinders, so there is no syncing, balancing. If you guys haven't caught on, I really like the single carb setups for V-twins or parallel twins. Now we do have an aftermarket exhaust system. It has these twin little short shotguns, but those slip-ons are after the factory cross member there. This is kind of a factory H pipe. It's 2 to 2 with a cross member. So these goofy little things kind of wind up and have a growl. They have a funny sound. A classic petcock system with on, off, and reserve. We get one spark plug for each cylinder. And the seats on these Rebels, they're kind of funny. It's like a little pillow top, like 4-button seat up front, and then on the rear, this is tiny. If there's, like, my hand is bigger than the seat, if that shows you just how small that is. Everything about this motorcycle was made for people with a smaller stature. I mean, the seat height is dang near 25 inches tall. The foot pegs are nice and close. The handlebars really swoop back. The wheel sizes for this motorcycle, it's gonna have an 18 up front. We're gonna have a 15 in the rear. And so for the overall size of this bike, I'll get back a little bit further, but those wheels look proportionate. I wouldn't change anything there. So now let me sit on this motorcycle for you. So for reference, I am exactly 6 foot tall. I weigh 150 pounds soaking wet. And here's what I look like sitting on this motorcycle. All right, the big Rebel. So if you can kind of just look at my arms here, I mean, we are T-Rexing just sitting on the motorcycle. If I set the motorcycle on its side stand here so I can put my feet on the pedals, I do look like I am just cramped on this thing. And if I go to turn the wheels, the handlebar, it literally can touch my knee. So this is about how I look going down the road as this sits from the factory. But I do have some changes planned that'll make this fit my size of person a little bit better. Now, as far as the controls and what we get up front as the rider, for indicator lights, you have a high beam, turn signal, a neutral light. You know, there is the odometer, the trip, the speedometer, which goes up to 85 miles per hour. On the right-hand grip, you just have your throttle there, kill switch, and then the start button. Left-hand grip, you do have the choke right over here as well, so that the choke is on right there. We can turn it all the way forward. Now our choke is all the way off. High beam, low beam, left turn, right turn, cancel your turn, and your horn. Well, and we might as well just fire this thing up. So it does run perfect. I have not started it today, so everything is just icy cold on it. So all I'm gonna do, we'll turn the key on. I'll put my choke on since I haven't started it today yet. I don't need any throttle or anything. I think I'll just press the start button. It rings out nice. It rings out nice for just a little 234. That is so awesome. Now we gotta do the horn test. What's it like? Well, and so since we've got a closer look at the bike now, I think we need to jump on it and we need to ride it. We need to see how this thing does on the streets in a real world setting, and we will find out if you have any business getting a Rebel 250. All right. The Rebel 250. So the Rebel name, it's funny. You hear Rebel and you think, oh, this is gonna be like a 1500 V4 muscle cruiser. Hardly. It is a 234 parallel twin. And the new Rebels, you know, they have the 300, 500, and 1100. The 1100, they even have that dual clutch system as an option. So it's essentially totally automatic. But the new Rebels have a lot in common with these older 250 Rebels in that they're smaller in stature. They're very approachable for shorter people. The looks of the new ones are certainly better, though. Here we go. Second gear, third gear. Just banging through 4 gears to get to 40. Oh yeah, baby. And you have no tachometer on this, so you're kind of just judging your RPMs based on how much it's screaming. So the aftermarket slip-on exhaust does make it a little bit easier for us there. Out of the way, people are in full throttle. Am I in top gear? I was in top gear, already at like 40. So 55 in top gear is screaming. It'll do it. And it's a Honda. I bet it'll do it all day. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do a day. How far can I drive the Honda Rebel in one day? In 24 hours. This guy doesn't even know he's gonna get burned off the line. We'll give it all she's got. Hopefully it's enough to get in front of this pickup. You know, this thing, I act like it's so slow. It's a 5-speed. It has enough horsepower to let you get past all the cars if you go all in. And I am all in, baby. We got up to 60 there. I cannot wait to do our 0 to 60 and top speed runs here in a second. But I guess, okay, for now. So we're just cruising at 50 miles per hour. And, you know, it's fine. It's, the foot pegs. I get a little fuzziness in the foot pegs, which is funny because they're like the biggest, most rubbery foot peg you can imagine. But, yeah, fuzziness there. A little fuzziness in the handlebars. I guess we're going 55 now. So we are winding it up. It's funny to have a motorcycle where 55 is wound up. I'm used to it being 155. Friends, the time has come. What is the performance data on a Honda Rebel 250? I don't know. But we'll gather the 0 to 60, and I'm just gonna keep blowing past that to top speed. It might not be much more than 60, but here we go. So let's get some facts. On your marks, get set, ride. Oh yeah, baby. 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. We're going 65, 70. I'm going to enter full tuck mode. 73, 74. I think it's 75. I'm just going to keep it pinned. We're going to keep rolling. 75, 76. 76. 76 is all I can, we got a slight downhill here. 77. And that maybe would not hit 78. So it looks like, I think that we can confidently say, for me at least, top speed was 74. I think 74. Man, that semi was carrying a bunch of gravel and stuff. It is very light. It is very flickable. You don't even have to think about turning. The motorcycle will absolutely do that for you. And we're off. You know, this thing is plenty fast, actually. If you were worried that you're not going to keep up with traffic, if you're just in the city and your speed limits are 60 miles per hour or less, I'd even say 65. I think this thing will do just fine. You know, don't be worried about getting eaten alive in traffic. It easily is faster than most cars off the line. Not in a drag race setting. That was already top gear. We'll loop it around right here, and we will blaze this thing to 60. Maybe past 60. U-turns are so easy. Stuff like that is enjoyable on small, light motorcycles. Alright, 0 to 60, 2005 Honda Rebel 250, the CMX 250. Let's see what we can get. About 35. Can I hold 35? Yes, I did. My hand movements, it's just like all in. Let me see what the most comfortable speed you could be in top gear. Probably 40. Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to be at 35 in top gear. It just seems a little too low. So about 40. 40 is when you can comfortably shift into 5th gear on a Rebel 250. Us just wringing this thing's neck is really just letting her breathe, letting her run a little bit better. I don't know. Seemingly our top speed is slowly increasing. Now it's not, you don't get a sense of being cool, even though our bike has a little bit more volume. Whoa, this thing is so light. Just a little breeze today kind of blows me as I'm coming up to a stop. But you certainly don't feel cool on this by any means. And there's another motorcycle. Well, his is all busted up, so I do feel cool. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win any races. You're not going to be cool, you know, like you would on a crotch rocket or some flashy bagger or some awesome supermoto. But, you know, it is fun. It does, this bike captivates and captures all of the really enjoyable feelings that I get from just riding motorcycles in general. Just having that wind in your hair, you know, kind of an engaging experience that we have the clutch and the gears, that it's a smaller engine, that you really get to wind it up and experience that power band. And we're off. Rebel 250 coming through. Home sweet home. Give it a couple victory revs. Oh, that's so funny. This thing is goofy. It's so goofy and it's so awesome. Nice! A little victory brew. So overall, how is a Honda Rebel 250? Well, so there's a lot of different things that we could say about this bike, and it really depends who you are, your size, your stature, what you're gonna use this motorcycle for. You know, a lot of those factors will determine if this is the right bike for you, but there's a couple different features, a couple attributes that this motorcycle has that are good for everyone. It is light. It is so light. It is a breeze to ride this motorcycle, to take it off the kickstand, just to kind of weasel this thing around through town, through traffic. It is very easy to handle this bike. The low seat height, you know, even though I'm 6 foot, I love cruisers that have that lower seat height, you know, 25, 26, 27 inches. They were made for cruising. They're made for smelling the roses. They're not a race bike. They're not made for going up the side of a mountain. A lot of things about this bike I truly enjoy. You know, I think the Rebel 250 is an excellent first motorcycle. And beyond that, I feel like it's an excellent second motorcycle. Second motorcycle in the sense that it's one of multiple motorcycles you own. But this Rebel 250 has a spot, and it holds a spot that's totally unique in that it's faster than most of your scooters or more of your underpowered stuff that's out there. I mean, we were getting up to 70, 75 miles per hour. That's gonna be enough for most people just commuting around their city in a metropolitan environment. It does have the clutch, the 5-speed transmission, and so that's nice because even though this motorcycle is small, it's easy, it's so approachable, you still get good practice in of what a real motorcycle functions and feels like. You know, this motorcycle operates the same way that a 900-pound, 1800cc bagger would operate. If you learn how this bike operates, you can take those skills to any other motorcycle out there. And this is a platform that is just far more approachable than a lot of other bikes are. But so very good. What I'll say is if you're looking for a sub $2,000 motorcycle, a used Honda Rebel 250 is an excellent option. And if you can find it, check out one of the Nighthawk 250s. So where am I at going forward on this CMX 250? Well, I am gonna kind of switch up the whole look and feel of this motorcycle. So I've got a bunch of different parts that are already ordered. They're on the way right now, so stick around for that. But yeah, like I said at the start, this bike is the king of nowhere. There's something special there. That brand was on to something if they've made that model unchanged for that long. And this Rebel 250 is one of those cases. So hopefully now you're informed a little bit more about these old Rebel 250s. And now maybe you have the insight to decide if one of these will ever have a spot in your stable. So comment with any questions. Otherwise, like the video if you had fun today. Subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time.